Up until last month, I was in debt. Now my app portfolio generates a surplus of $50,000 per month. And instead of playing it safe, I'm looking to invest that money in what I know best. Buying and acquiring apps with untapped potential that I can grow, monetize, optimize, and document the journey. This isn't about just purchasing apps. This is about applying everything I've learned over the last few years, documenting the journey and taking an app that generates no revenue into something that is meaningful. This is probably the craziest idea I've ever had. In the early days of my indie app development journey, I stumbled across a business model that helped me get to where I am today. My apps were generating around about $200 to $300 per month, and just not enough to generate any meaningful income or revenue to pay the bills or support the family. What I did find was that selling these apps provided a runway and an extension to my cash flow that let me continue building and keep the dream alive. Now I'm coming full circle and I want to buy apps from independent app developers who are in that same position I was in those early days. But before I show you my buying strategy, there's something that most app buyers get wrong. Most people purchasing an app use a simple formula. Get the monthly revenue, times it by 12, and then times it by a multiple. And honestly, it makes sense if you're purchasing a business that you want to generate a passive income from. But I'm doing something a little different. I'm looking for apps that generate little to no money at all. And I'm going to tell you why that's actually an advantage. Here's exactly what I'm looking for in an app's analytics. I'm looking for apps that have at least 100 downloads per month, with 100% organic downloads from the App Store without any App Store ads or external ad campaigns. This is because there could be room for growth in the App Store optimization and another area that I can add value to the process. The app must be at least 6 months old. From my experience, when you release an app, you get an immediate boost in downloads, followed by 6 months of lull, nothing. App Store just forgets you even exist. And then after 6 months, if App Store optimization is done right and you have proper growth strategies, you start to see an uptick in downloads, with at least a 4-star rating average. Why, you ask? This is a pretty obvious one. This is an indication of user sentiment and the engagement on the app. If the app has no reviews and it's 6 months old, something's not quite right there. But if the app has 4-star reviews from tens or even hundreds of people reviewing it, then that's a good indication that people are using the app, people like the app, and people are generally happy to engage and promote the app for you. I'm only looking for apps built in SwiftUI. Because I will be adding value to the process, I don't want to have to rebuild an entire app built in a language I don't know. I want to lean into a language that I know, and I know SwiftUI. But finding these apps are not the hard part. It's working out how much they're worth. An app that generates no revenue is generally considered not worth much at all. So I'm formulating a strategy to base my valuation on the number of users downloading the app. The calculation is simple. Bring up the dashboard for the last 90 days of an app. This is the part that I'm really focused on. The number of people who have downloaded the app in the last 90 days. And I think a fair price is to pay $1 per person who has downloaded the app over the last 90 days. So an app that has had $0 in revenue, but 1,000 downloads in the last 90 days is worth $1,000. What I'm looking for is organic and stable downloads of apps. When I see these big spikes, they kind of look like there's been an advertising campaign, some viral growth, or featured on the App Store. This is not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for are apps that have a consistent and stable number of downloads over the past 90 days. And then this little percentage at the top gives you an indication whether the app is growing or declining. This gives you a full 180-day view of what the app is doing and how the app is performing. Over the last few years, I've perfected a paywall and an onboarding flow and the App Store optimization that has helped grow my portfolio from $0 per month to $60,000 per month. I want to apply my learning to other apps that are already established, already have the potential to grow, and add my paywall, add my onboarding flow, add features and improvements, and do some App Store optimization. Now is the best time that I have ever seen to be building and creating apps. When you make an app, sometimes it takes off, sometimes it doesn't take off. The ones that take off generate revenue. They make you money, they pay the rent, they keep things going. But there's a lot of those apps that I've built personally and that others have built that just kind of plot along. There's a kind of a skill issue or no motivation to keep building the app because there's not enough downloads and not enough people using it. In the current state of the App Store, these apps are just not worth much money if you sell them. I want to spend $50,000 on these apps to build a portfolio of small, tiny bets to build and grow. It's a risk. I don't know if it's going to pay off. I'm not paying for an established business model at all. I'm trying this theory of purchasing user acquisition channels and established apps. And that is scary. It is a lot of money. And I don't know where else to inject that money. I live a happy life. I'm really satisfied with the way that we live, and I don't want to buy stupid, expensive things for the sake of buying stupid, expensive things. I want to invest what the business is earning, and the best way and the only way, and all that I know, is building and growing apps. Plus, I want to give back. I know in my early days of building my indie app portfolio, I tried a lot of small bets. Some of them took off, some of them didn't take off. But the crucial part was I was able to extend my runway, get a cash injection, and continue building and learning and staying in the game by selling the smaller apps out of my portfolio, getting a cash injection, and then continuing to build. So now I'm coming full circle to buy some of those smaller apps that are pre-revenue or low revenue and giving a cash injection to small builders, taking the app off their hand, running with it, growing it, and seeing if I can bring it to that next level. There's no guarantees that that's going to be the case, but I think it's a fun and exciting challenge to get stuck into, and I want to document every step of the process. If you have apps in your portfolio that match the requirements that I'm looking for, feel free to reach out. I'll put my contact details in the description below, or you can send me a message on Twitter or Instagram. All you have to do is send a screenshot of the dashboard for the past 90 days. It looks something like this. I'll review it and I'll get back to you. My time frame for purchasing my first batch of apps will be early next month when my Apple payment drops. So we're looking around about December 5th onwards. If this is something that you're interested in, reach out. I've got a budget to spend on this thing, and I'm looking forward to helping small indie app developers get that leg up that I had in my early days of building, and then documenting my journey with the app, featuring it in a future video and showing what works, what doesn't work, and what strategy I'm going to do to take the app to the next level.